Hello all. Thank you for joining me on International Women's Talmud Day. I'm Dr. Shayne, a current student at Yeshivat Maharat, and I am here to talk a little bit about a chamber in the Beit HaMikdash, the temple, which is mentioned in Masachet Yoma. So one of the really interesting features of the first 7 chapters of Masachet Yoma is the degree of cartographical information we get about the temple. In the process of choreographing the Yom Kippur service, the rabbis also need to understand the layout of the temple, its courtyards, chambers, and antechambers. And remember, many of the rabbis in the Bavli are not actually familiar with the temple. They've never been there. They don't know what it's like. They've never even been to Israel. So this process is actually quite complicated. And yet, they're also trying to understand what these rooms and places are for and why they're named what they're named. In their own way, this is a little bit of a reclamation and a recreation of the temple far away in Bavel. What they are doing is recreating the avoda through choreography and giving meaning to even the smallest parts of the service. In that part of meaning making, we come across one of my favorite short moments in Yoma. On Daf Lamed Daled Amud Bet, in the middle of the Kohen Gadol's avoda, we learn that he is brought to the Parva chamber for his second immersion of the day. In the Mishnah, the name of the chamber occasions no comment, but in the Gemara, on Daf Lamed Hey Amud Aleph, the rabbis ask, "My Parva, who or what is Parva?" All of the chambers are named what they're named for a reason. So, where did this name come from? Amar Rav Yosef, Parva Amgusha. Rav Yosef answers that Parva is a magus. And the Mefarshim have a field day. So, first Rashi. Mechashef echad bana ushmo Parva. So this chamber, he says, was built by a certain sorcerer. And that sorcerer's name was Parva, so they named it after him. Which, I don't know about you, but to me, that raises far more questions than it answers. The Meiri fills in a bit more of the story. This sorcerer eventually converted to Judaism and built the chamber as part of his repentance process. So that's one possibility for Parva. Rabbeinu Hananel and Tosfot offer a different version of the story. And this is from Rabbeinu Hananel's text. Parva Shem Adam Magushi. So Parva is the name of a magus. ויש מן החכמים שאומרים כי חפר מחילה תחת הקרקע בקודש עד שיראה עבודת כהן גדול ביום הכיפורים. And there are some among the wise who say that this magus dug a hole or dug a tunnel under the ground in order to get to the Kodesh so that he could see the avoda of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. והרגישו הכהנים בחפירה באותו מקום וחפרו ומצאוהו. And the Kohanim felt the digging under their feet in this very location, and they dug down and found the magus there. Unikret otha halishka al shmo. And so this particular chamber was named after him, which is amazing. And what I love about these stories, aside from the glorious visual picture that they paint, is how they speak to a deep need that the Mefarshim seem to feel to find every aspect of the temple meaningful. They certainly recognize that this is hearsay and a suggestion. The use of the phrase, yesh mina chachamim, there are some of the wise who say, means that neither Tosfot or Rabbeinu Hananel is taking ownership over this as a thing that definitely happened, but it's instead a story that they feel like telling. And it's a story that helps bring the temple closer for them, and for us as well. It's not just a place with a strange name anymore, but a real building with a history. By telling these stories, the Mefarshim bring themselves closer to a place they've never been and probably never will be. Having said that, Dr. Shai Sekunda offers a different explanation for the name. The word Amgusha means magus, plural magi, the title of a Zoroastrian priest. Sekunda suggests that Rav Yosef is not saying the Parva is the name of a magus, but is linking the purpose of the room to the office of the magi, to better clarify for his contemporary Babylonian rabbis what the chamber might be like and what the purpose is for. Alas, I am someone for whom Zoroastrian magi are even less in my cultural context than Second Temple Kohanim, so I'm not actually sure what the comparison is meant to do. But the exercise in making the foreign accessible and relevant is one that resonates deeply. And although the stories offered by the Rishonim are very different in kind, the goal itself of making present and understandable that which is absent and confusing definitely remains. Yoma, especially in the first 7 prakim, can be an alienating masachet to learn. Its vision of Yom Kippur and the one we experience every year are pretty different. But I find myself reassured to find that the rabbis of the Talmud and the Mefarshim commenting on what those rabbis say are engaged in the same struggle to make the foreign familiar and to find ways into the text so that I am. It may not require sorcery, but there is just a little bit of magic that happens when you dig into a text and find a kindred spirit excavating the same thing. So let's get digging.